Now, they are starting to, after that incident, they're starting to now assemble information and intelligence for this raid that they're planning in My Lai. So, and I think it's really important to take a look at where this intelligence is coming from and how this, because it paints a very important part of the picture of what these guys are being told. Back to the book. An intelligence roundup for March 1968, prepared respectively, summed up the state of knowledge was this. Although Son Tin district remained relatively quiet during this period, elements of the 48th and existing local force units probably roamed the district countryside. The hills north and northwest of My Lai area were probable base camps for elements of the 48th Battalion, and it probably received supplies from the peninsula. So the 48th is an enemy unit, an enemy battalion, and you can hear the word probable being used. Okay, they're probably in the area, the villagers probably support them, so there isn't a claim being made from higher, from above the chain of command. But you're going to hear that change. So above the chain of command, there's higher intelligence that's making these claims that there's probable VC there, that they probably work in this area, that they're probably getting supported from the village as well. As this filters down, it turns from probable to like definite. Mm-hmm. There is a strange discrepancy between what the Army thought it knew about the Viet Cong and what the task force thought it knew. Army intelligence made only tentative claims. By contrast, Ramsdell, and for that matter Kutak, were almost pontifical. So these are the two intelligence guys at the task force level. So does that make sense? So you've got the higher Army above them is telling them, hey, there's probable this, probable that. And these guys are basically starting to say, no, this is VC. This is what's happening factually.
Mm-hmm. Is that kind of like the game of telephone, one of those deals?
Yeah, it is. And it's also, you're going to find as I go into this that both these guys aren't experienced. So I'll get to it. There was a kind of perverse destiny that brought the two overweight and middle-aged American captains, Ramsdell and Kutak, together in Tet Quang Nai City. Both were new boys to the real world of intelligence assessment in a battle zone. Both were inexperienced, both desperately eager to establish a reputation. Ramsdell had provided intelligence to Kutak prior to My Lai operation, and the curious convergence of their views irresistibly suggests that it was indeed Ramsdell who had provided intelligence for the attack on My Lai itself. Suggestions that the 48th Local Force Battalion was up to 400 strong, that everyone in the village was Viet Cong or Viet Cong sympathizer, and that at 7 on Saturday morning, all bona fide civilians would have left the village for the market. All these views were shared by Ramsdell and Kutak and accepted uncritically by Task Force Barker. So think about that. You got these guys saying there's 400, up to 400 enemy in the area, that the village is all Viet Cong sympathizers, and that on a Saturday, everyone that's an actual civilian will have left at 7 o'clock in the morning for the market. Now, you can't make that claim about any group of civilians in the world, that everyone's going to do something at the same time. Yeah. Impossible that you could make that claim. Mm-hmm. Back to the book. Asked later about intelligence indicating that no civilians would be left in the village at the time of the attack, Ramsdell replied that the civilians went to market early in the morning because of the heat. They testified, it appears in a similar vein, in the civilian market, in a civilian population area, there were several markets, large markets, where all the people would gather each day because they had no refrigeration or anything like it. With hindsight, it appears naive, even simple-minded. Yet in 1968, this nugget of anthropological insight, along with the corollary that everyone who was not at the market was Viet Cong, was deemed unchallengeable by Ramsdell, considered impeccable by Kutak, and passed on unamended to the bitter men of Charlie Company seeking revenge for their losses. This is horrible.